When we talk about identity, we often think about who we are, our values, our roles, our relationships, the life we build. But for many people, especially those who've experienced trauma or emotional neglect, identity isn't something that feels whole. It feels tainted. It feels defined by shame. One of the heaviest burdens survivors of trauma carry is not guilt. Guilt says I did something wrong. Shame says something far more painful. There is something wrong with me. Shame doesn't just live in our thoughts, it lives in our bodies, in the tightening of the chest, the drop of the gaze, the quiet withdrawal from others. It's a feeling that says, I am unworthy, I am broken, I'm too damaged to be loved. But here's the reality, that shame is never yours to begin with. It's the echo of what happened to you, not a reflection of who you are. Think about a child who grows up in an environment where their feelings aren't welcomed. Maybe they're told, stop crying, you're too sensitive, be stronger. At first, those are just words, but over time, the words become beliefs. And these limiting beliefs become an identity. That child learns that being emotional equals being weak. They learn that needing comfort equals being a burden. And so they begin to hide. Fast forward 20 or 30 years, that same adult may still apologize for having those feelings. They may struggle to express needs or hide their pain behind perfectionism, humor, or achievement. They may walk through life with a quiet background voice whispering, you're not enough. But here's the tragedy. None of that shame belongs to them. It belongs to the environment that failed to honor their emotional truth. You see, identity isn't something we are born knowing. It's something that's shaped through our early relationships, through the eyes, voices, and touch of the people who raised us. If those early reflections were rejecting, shaming, or inconsistent, then our sense of self becomes distorted. Instead of developing an identity built on love and acceptance, we form one built on defensiveness and fear. And yet, this is where the healing begins. Healing begins when you can start to separate what happened to you from who you are. When you stop confusing your trauma story with your identity, your wounds are real, your coping strategies are real. But they are not proof of your weakness. They are proof of your resilience. They are signs that your mind and body did everything possible to keep you safe. When shame shows up, it's often trying to protect you. It says, don't stand out, don't speak up, don't risk rejection. But what it really protects is an outdated version of yourself, a self that once needed those defensive to survive. So how do we start to shift this? Well, it begins with awareness. The next time you feel shame rising, perhaps after you make a mistake, express emotion, or receive criticism, pause for a moment and ask yourself, whose voice is this? Is it mine, the voice of my authentic adult self, or is it the echo of someone else, a parent, a teacher, a bully, a culture that taught me that being me was not enough? When you can recognize that the voice of shame isn't truly yours, something remarkable happens. You begin to reclaim your own narrative. You begin to hear another voice, quieter at first, but truer. The voice that says, I am worthy, I'm allowed to feel, I am enough. This is the beginning of identity reconstruction, or rebuilding your sense of self, not around what others projected onto you, but around what's genuinely yours. In my work as a therapist and identity coach, I often see how clients mistake shame for truth. They'll say, I just feel so unworthy, or I know I'm not good enough, as if these are facts, but shame isn't a fact. It's a feeling, and feelings are messengers, not verdicts. Shame is telling you something important. It's saying, there's a part of me that still believes I'm not allowed to exist fully. And that's the part that needs compassion, not correction. When we bring empathy to our shame, it begins to lose its power. When we stop fighting it and start listening to it, it starts to transform. You might try this simple practice. The next time you feel shame creeping in, close your eyes and picture the younger version of yourself who first felt that shame. Notice what they're feeling, scared, small, invisible, unworthy. And then as your adult self, imagine kneeling down beside them and saying, it's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. You were never broken. You were hurt, and that's different. When you begin to speak to yourself in this way, you're doing something profoundly healing. You're separating your true identity from the false identity of shame built around you. You're saying to yourself, I'm not my trauma and not my parents' words. I'm not my past. Identity in its truest form is not something you create to impress others. It's something you reclaim by remembering who you were before the world told you who you should be. So if you recognize yourself in what I've shared today, if shame has been the lens through which you've seen your life, then please hear this. You're not broken, you are becoming. The work of healing shame is the work of rediscovering who you are underneath shame, the sensitive, feeling, vibrant and deeply human self who has always been there, waiting to be seen and loved. And that is the heart of identity work, not to fix who you are, but to remember who you've always been. If you'd like help finding your identity, visit my website. Let's book a free discovery call and let's see what's possible.